Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Urban Terror Nation Cup 18 for the very first game from the playoffs and also the very first game from the quarterfinals. The qualifiers, which we are not going to be shotcasting because we don't have any demos for it, but they very much ended as we all had expected and as I also predicted very much. If you look at it right here, everyone won, as I just said, except for one thing. Italy won 2-0 over Belgium, since that Belgium had to just take a forfeit loss as they couldn't really get a schedule with Italy up and working, and so that they could actually play the match. So, nevertheless, with Italy though still in, it's sad of course that we are not going to see that very match between Italy and Belgium, but with Italy we still very much have a strong contender for the title. We haven't lost someone to a nobody or something like that. Italy has been very, very strong for a very long time, and they have been knocking out teams in the playoffs that were the favorites to win. Every time they haven't really gotten all the way through to the finals, or they have once, but nevertheless, still, they are very much someone to be reckoned with. So there's no reason to be sad for this fact. But nevertheless, let's not talk about the past. Let's talk about this very match, which is technically also in the past, since this was played like 1.5 years ago. But, well, we'll just glimpse over that. It's going to be a match, nevertheless, between France and USA. And France being right now the reigning champion, as you all should know, having been really high up in the playoffs since the 11th Nation Cup, which is 2008. So 2008 to 2015, that's quite a long time. But also they have had one bad performance 2012, but then was the changes over the next 2 seasons, and they were all the way back up again, and they've won the last 2 Nation Cups in a row, getting first place just very, very convincingly. And the lineup really hasn't changed very much. The only addition this year is with Babu, which is a really, really good player, so he's a really great addition in my opinion to the team. And except for him, we also have Holters, Clad, Zombie and Hemp returning for several years now. And they all, as you should know, are very much some of the very best players in all of Urban Terror, so this is a really good team playing. And going up against them, we have USA, who have been also very consistently in the playoffs, even longer than France, all the way back since the 9th Nation Cup, and also almost consistently also getting into the quarterfinals as we are now. And Camus has been playing all the way since back then. Tarquin has also been playing for a very long time. They both had a little bit of a break, but they're back and they're doing really, really great. Actually, those 2 people are the ones with the positive KD ratio, so they're the ones that are very much getting all the work done here. No, the other 3, you shouldn't discount them. They certainly also pull their weight. We also have Moscow Jones playing for his 4th season now, playing since the 15th Nation Cup. Cannot be placed very highly on the Urban Zone League, but looking at the kill-death ratio, that is still certainly nothing to worry about now. Assel and K-Bar just joined the last season, and with Assel being the leader of Ace, which is one of the most highest ranking teams, even currently at the time of recording, which is 1.5 years later, this is also a really great addition to the team. So, this series is the first series we're actually going to shoutcast in the playoffs, so this is going to be a proper and full best of 3 instead of the best of 2s that we've had yet. And we're going to start with the map of choice of France, which, as you might expect, be Capture the Flag on Algiers. France are really, really well known for Capture the Flag, and Algiers also being one of the stronger maps, it makes a lot of sense to choose this one and pick this. Just pick the map that you're the strongest on. But also though, if anyone should be able to contest them in Capture the Flag, it would be USA, even though that they mainly at least in the Nation Cup, have been playing Abbey, they also very much capable on Algiers. And then after that, we're going to follow it up with switching game modes to Team Survivor and switching over to Sanctuary. And this shoutcast might go a little bit on a nostalgia trip at that point, because this was the home map for Denmark back in the day when I played. Our captain just played a lot with the Americans, so he took over a lot of their strategies. But nevertheless, that is also meaning that this is a long time home map for USA in this game mode, but also they are really, really good at it. So it should make for a great second map. And since this is a best of 3, we're going to have an ace match, which is going to be Dust 2 version 2. And we saw last season with France playing against, I think it was Italy, them playing with some really, really interesting strategies. I didn't understand them really well at the time, which is a little bit embarrassing, but now that I do understand them, they very much, as we did see them back then, that France very much are playing with strategies and playstyles that are only focused on the game mode of bomb mode and not just playing it as if it was Team Survivor. So France very much going to be able to deliver a great match, or a great ace match, and also I think USA would be one of the teams who would also be putting a little bit of a thought at least into the game mode of bomb mode. So let's dive right into the very first map, Algiers, which is just a really, really cool capture the flag map, which is also why I really very much hope that this one is going to be converted for the next iteration and the next generation of Urban Terror on the Unreal 4 engine. Because the most important area of this map is obviously the camel corner and the central building. This is just the shortest and the most direct route from one flag to the other. But also, not just the camel corner and the building itself are very important. Actually, the rest of the map, even the ones that are completely disjunct and disconnected from that area and are pretty much at the perimeter, however you're going to pronounce that word, at the outside, most outskirts of the map, those are also very, very important. One really, really good example for that, except of course also there's the street. But the square is one of the also very, very important areas. Not only because it itself is an opening for you, especially to make some suppressing fire onto the blue flag and the blue defenders, but also because if you have control of the square, you also then have the ability to push further onto the opponent and then push onto their spawn area or their defenders, especially push onto the opponent's balcony area, which is one of their stronger defending areas, which will be something that you will realize very, very fast when you play this map, that the one damn guy up at that balcony is going to kill you over and over again until you try and figure out some way to get that area neutralized. And one of them, as I said, is to just have one player go through the square and backstab it and contest that very area. Another thing, which is also rather uncommon maybe for Urban Terror, but is not very uncommon on Algiers because of this very fact that you have all of these small areas which are very important. We can also see the use of smoke grenades, especially on something like the balcony, because then you have, with having thrown a smoke over there, even though the smoke is not in Urban Terror very effective, it still is able to cover off one tiny gap, being, for example, a door. So with just that balcony being only a little door and a little wider, you cannot really go out onto the balcony and actually try and push onto and keep on defending because there's a smoke grenade there. So that makes it much, much easier for you to actually push further in, which is the reason really why you also see just the smoke grenades. And the last thing I want to say is also very much connected to having all of these areas being a little bit disjunct and such. But because of this, you are very much always having one player assigned to one singular area, maybe two to one singular area. If you, probably you had two to the camel corner, but nevertheless, in general, you have one player for a specific area, and if that one player in his fails to keep control of his own area, it has a domino effect on the rest of the team. The whole rest of the team will have to move back and get into more defensive positions and cannot and lose map control, because they will have to worry about the flank. And there's just so many different small areas that you have to have really good communication, but also have very good individual skill to be able to play very well here on Algiers. So France might show confidence with their map pick, especially just inviting USA onto their strongest map and just saying that if they want, they don't really worry about what USA's weakness is, they just take what is their strongest. But USA, as I've said earlier, certainly are going to put up a fight. They are one of the bigger contenders here on Capture the Flag. So in the blue colors, we're going to have USA starting for this half, and France are going to be playing in the red. So we're going to start here with Clad, together with Holtes, going to go straight onto the square, while Holtes is pushing down onto the balcony and further onto the street. Tarquin is going to be pushed back and being killed here by zombies, Nate too, from the camel corner, so France are finding a little bit of an opening, killing several people in various different positions, so Assel had to move back, and Keeler, ooh, interesting, I actually didn't introduce Keeler. So Keeler is also a player from USA, as you might imagine, but has also played for the clan, which is together with Solitary and Xenon, a lot of well-known players still also playing in that clan, which is, and also the name itself you might also recognize. Nevertheless, we have Moscow Jones here going and push on through the balcony, gets one, a little bit of a trade, but still, several of the French players are right on top of the flag. They are not yet able to bring it back home here, but with a smoke grenade right at the top of the ramp, they very much have kept all of America back, and also with everyone from USA still dead, Hemp is able to get it home for 1 point here. Interesting that they actually didn't get enough, get two flags out of that opening. It was just actually just the board there. Cool. It was just the scoreboard that was a little bit out of date. I was very certain that was going to be a 2-0. It would make no sense if they had pretty much killed all of the American team and kept them also pushed back with that nade for such a long time that they weren't able to make it to a double capture. Still, yet they have the flag a little bit moved away. Tarquin does return it, and all of USA are again beginning to push out. Camo is just though sitting back, waiting for the wave respawn and then pushing on into the buildings. So USA are beginning to get in. Camo is now also getting Babu, getting a little bit of here out of a flank onto the camel corner. So USA taking control a little bit of the map. France though at the same time have control of USA's balcony area, which really heavily weakens the defense here of USA, meaning that Hemp is going to go in for the third flag capture. And Holtz is also still killing Tarquin here up at the balcony, and Hemp already again in the camel corner, and the balcony also all the way down to USA, and trying to go in for a flank onto the balcony through the street, being very much hurt by all of the French players on this way just over there to just get that one person. And with three French players in all the various positions, again a fourth flag capture here, very, very open. USA just cannot really get up a good defense before anything bad happens though. Zombie is helping a little bit here by getting that one nade here in on Hemp. And Camo is now also getting two people down and going to go for some supporting fire here, so that we can get that one extra flag here home. It is already through the house. Moscow Jones brings it all the way for a 4-1. But France already in retaliation, and Zombie pushed very far onto the flag, gets Assel down, but does also retreat as he has no one there to support him. Does go in for the flag. Has the nade there. Is just killed immediately. But still, again, Clad here going to go in and push onto the balcony area. Gets Asshole. Again, France having a lot of map control here. Tarquin does get the control back. And also gets a few good hits in here. Supporting fire onto the area of the building. Central building. But Tarquin here also getting killed very much just after the wave hit, so he's out for a long time, and several of the American players also out. Only Camus Jet still alive. Getting a lot of people down, but he don't think he actually got the flag carrier, who is somewhere around here. Actually, the flag carrier just grabbed the flag and put it into the very corner, as you see. My apologies. So very much it has actually helped USA, as it's just a little bit more easier to defend corner. Has been returned now, and Zombie tries to go in for a second time. Does go down here to Kilo. And Clad does try to go in further. Assel does get him down. Moscow Jones goes into the central building. Has to take control of it after killing Babu, but Ham takes it back. Zombie goes in for the backstab here on Tarquin, the only one here on the balcony to be able to hunt him down. And then goes for the jump all the way over to the flag. Really, really nice game sense here from Zombie. Making sure that he has a one safe route home before he actually goes for the one. Moscow Jones though, going here for a second flag capture. And Cameron's holding down onto the central building on anyone trying to pursue and take control. Cameron's also getting down a little bit of good hits here on Clad, but again, a lot of kills by the French players, and one no hits there on the flag carrier. Heb is going to go in for the 6th flag capture. And very much just kills all around, but again, Zombie taking just with a smoke grenade onto the slope. Again, denying vision and just being able to pretty much take it home. Cameras and Moscow Jones very much being really, really well at just hunting them down, making a crossfire. And Moscow Jones just at his last breath returns the flag. Cameras goes for the supporting fire to help Assel bring it all the way back home for the 3rd flag capture. But already again, Holtzes for France turns it around, and Hemp goes already in here for his 2nd flag capture in a row. So it's not only going to be a 7-3, but an 8-3 here. And Holtzes here with the smoke grenades already blocks off any possibilities of the American players to hold positions on their own spawn area. Zombie just waiting for a good opening. Goes into the camel corner, surprises one player, does go down here. And Moscow Jones returns the flag, chooses to return the flag rather than try and go for the flag capture, which would be possibly have a higher outcome, of course, because he could go for the flag and then return it, but it's certainly also much more risky, as he just had 1 extra second to do that. Zombie slides in for a 9th flag capture here, does go down, but from the American player at the camel corner, but still 9-3. This is a very convincing lead here, and USA, even though the red side might be the easier one, it's still also very much a convincing lead here. Assel trying to hold down the angle. Zombie though gets the better end of that engagement with the Desert Eagle. But he had just gotten enough time for the rest of the Americans to hold down and get around into a crossfire. But still, Babu, the very last player alive on both teams, or for both teams, of all the 10 players, was able to just kill the last 2 without them really realizing that where he was. Goes in for the flag for the 10th here. Him tries to go in for the 2nd, but just when the wave respawns, or the wave at least was able to catch up. And USA with 4 players pretty much just surging onto their own flag and win back control. Keeler tries to touch the flag, is going to be killed. Babu returns it. But still, USA beginning to gain grounds. And just when I say it's Zombie, again also touches for the flag, but is also killed. And Assel holding it down here at the central building. And taking control of the camel corner. Doesn't win though against Zombie. Moscow Jones also trying to see if he can cut off Zombie from the through the camel corner. And Zombie going through the camel corner again, also going straight onto to a second attempt here for another flag capture. And this time he actually stays alive. So this might have been 20 seconds since his first attempt, but he certainly still got in. But this time there's not that many smoke grenades, so USA finally can make use of their positions. But already now again the smoke grenades are up. So USA have to push further forward and have to push through all of these grenades. And France is just waiting on the other side for them, and this is just one big mowdown. Zombie again here for the 12th flag capture. This is a very interesting use, as I said. Usually we just see the flag going, or the smoke grenade, sorry, going just onto the balcony, as we have seen. But with just 2 players dedicated on killing that player, and then just having 1 player smoke it off from the street all the time, you block off a much bigger area, because with 2 smoke grenades you certainly can hold off something as wide as just that area. So that's a very interesting choice, or a very interesting new approach that I haven't actually seen before here by France. Very, very interesting. So the question really is also how USA could have maybe responded to that. They might have wanted to focus even harder on yes, haven't looked at the minimap, so I'm not going to be able to say if this is true or not. But I'm just going here to go on a little bit of a hunch and say that USA did actually not have any players attempt to take control of the square. Because the square was the opening for all the backstabs onto their own balcony area. And if they had control of the square, they could have also killed the 1 player throwing all the smoke grenades, and they would also have an opening, of course, onto the other to France's own spawn area. So that might have been something that would have helped them, certainly. It might also be that they just attempted to do that, but they were shot down each and every time. I didn't look at the minimap, but that would be my analysis nevertheless. That would be my hunch as to why this worked so very well and why this kept on working. More importantly, I'm not really certain. It looked very much like USA each and every time just tried to rush onto their own flag area, try to see if they could salvage the now instead of fixing for the later, which is might be actually what might be a mentality that they should have tried to gun for instead. So very much, let's go and watch the second half. We're going to switch sides, so USA might now be playing on the easier side. I'm pretty certain that the wet side is the easier one, but with a 12-3, this might be very, very difficult to get back. But still, USA start off really, really strong. A lot of kills here. Tarquin goes in, does miss the door there, so he's stuck right there for just being killed here by him. Assel, though, already at the camel corner, goes in for a nice little bit of a hold down on the angle, and also kills Zombie right when he gets out, but enough of the French players were there to just still keep the flag and have the really clever, just holding down one angle, being really sneaky. But still, it's a hot potato. Not as good as what we had from France earlier, but certainly better than just keeping on losing flags here. Right now though, we have a lot of the Americans going down here, and French are pretty much swarming all of USA's spawn area. So this flag might be returned. Holters returns the flag, Babu goes in for the jump. It has been 50 seconds, but the flag and the hot potato wasn't just exploding, it was actually going to go all the way. Or it was going to be a hard-fought battle for that one flag capture. And Holters goes in here for a second and has taken out the SA-2 for a very interesting choice. Going to go and try and see if he can snipe down from the street. Doesn't really connect very easily. Might want to try and see if he can switch over to the PSG. I have seen Tarquin do that very, very strongly. Clad now with the LR300, trying to hold down the angle. Tarquin trying to see if he can test here on the street. But still though, USA taking quite a lot of map control, but still, France also pushing very, very hard, having 3 players almost in with just few meters of the American flag here. But Assel still holding down very, very convincingly here onto this angle. But now also trying to go in, Babu just mowing everyone down. They certainly have much more map control than earlier, but they still have not yet the setup possible for to actually push further in. Babu just going to be able to keep on killing people if he's just going to be able to stay there in that position, and he's not going to be contested. And Holtz is also hiding behind the palm trees, goes trying to see if he can go up against Moscow Jones. Did actually not connect that very much with him, but still Hemp through the street goes in for another flag capture. Already a 3-0 to France, and goes in, does a little bit of a flank and a surprise attack here on Tarquin and Assel, and Holtzes goes in for another flag capture through this building. Holtzes being very nice, just holding down on the slope to making sure that only his head really is seen when he is expecting for someone to pursue through the house or come straight from the camel corner. So very nice positioning and also a very nice game sense, not just going straight further out again to the camel corner, but waiting, being patient, really. Very nice. Zombie though also already again pushed very hard, and him having a lot of map control by just being able to hold down the angles from the house is going to be going down. As several kills here from USA, though most of them were actually just kills for the HP on the Americans. But still, with was actually 2 French players down for quite some time for what was only 1 American player. There was an opening. It was pretty much traded after that, so nothing more than pretty much only Tarquin here being able to take and hold control here of the camel corner, but with only 2 HP he does also go down. 1 American player though is there already to keep control of it. Babu though going in here on the North Road, or the street, whatever you want to call it. Going to hold down the angle and keep on contesting control, or keep on holding control of the building. Holtzes again going in here for a 5th flag capture of the American flag. But already America in pursuit. Moscow Jones getting really, really close, but Babu though with the backstab able to just make sure that none of the Americans are going to be able to go in for another flag capture, and Zombie cleans it up the last 2 and goes in and takes the flag home after 19 seconds of battle. And again also trying here to see if he can take control, but USA trying here to contest it and also push further in. Tarquin here touching the flag, does get killed here by 1 player from the street. Holtzes goes in, also kills Camos here. Clad also already pushing together with several others, and also making sure that they're not going to be flanked here from the balcony, having a really good setup, being very aggressive with their setup certainly, but it does very much work. They have all their bases covered here. And Hemp here coming in really, really fast, does jump right into the palm, but which did slow him down so that he was being able to be killed. But but nevertheless, getting a lot of people down with him simultaneously. So USA are not going to be able to push much further than what they are currently. They are right now just trying to see if they can take control with Keeler of the square, which they seem to have. And he seems to try to go around here onto the balcony. Moscow Jones also going in. Babu all the way down to 3 HP. So with the backstab here by Keeler, this might work. Hemp though already going in for another flag capture. Assel though at the camel corner, being much more of a defender and an attacker simultaneously than just one of the 2 roles only. And already 1 other American already to just support the attack in. Already 2 of the American players going down in this push, but Tarquin still alive, does also though go down right when he touches the flag. Assel trying to see if he can push out onto the street, is going to go down, and Babu here in the camel corner taking control of it and holding down onto Camos, trying here to take the flag home. Still 3 minutes left here, and it's a 6-0 on this half alone, which is, if I do the math correctly, an 18-3. it is certainly not something that USA will come back from, and it is also a little bit of a result that I'm a little bit surprised by. I mean, I might just be hyped and really putting too much faith into USA. I don't really think so. USA are very, very good at capture the flag. So I'm very surprised to see a result like this. And I've seen on the match reports USA having played on Algiers before, but now though we see Tarquin here with one flag capture and Azil already going here up for a second for a double flag capture here in a row. And it does go in. It's a little bit of a weird road. He didn't have much stamina, so he had to make a little bit of a smarter play. But again, already France pushing in after mowing all of the Americans down. But Babu with no stamina after that engagement has to wait a little, but still only 8 seconds here for this 7th flag capture on this half alone. But also very much it's very interesting to see how little France seems to focus very much on the camel corner itself. They have only like one person really dedicated. They really only have one player dedicated to that area. Instead, they have it's pretty much 3 players dedicated to the street itself, or 2 players to the street and 1 player to the building, but going onto the top floor of the building. So he very much is trying to help on the onto the road rather than the camel corner instead. Very interesting, and also just having one of the players simultaneously hold down on the flank or on the balcony, as we can see here. Kilo right now being having a good angle down through the fences. It's hard to see you, and you have a good angle onto the others, and you're also a little bit behind cover with some of the fence also still being able to, at least the top of it is, I'm certain, is still cover. Azil though being a little bit of a defensive here, going into it and hold Zombie down, but he should be worried about the one player who might be to his left. I think I pretty much saw one that should be able to flank him from the balcony. Azil though already is much smarter than I, so he already knows and also holds down on any possibility for Babu here to go in on the balcony. Muscat Jones though holding down on that one player while simultaneously also capturing the flag. Only 8 HP left, but brings it over to Azil, who brings it all the way home. Babu only respawning. They didn't get there in time to shut it down. And Cameron's already going in for another flag capture, but still, even though these might be points for redemption, they are, it's very much just France really they have so many points they really don't need to worry too much about. It's still only a 6-2, they still were 6-4, they were still in the lead very much on this half alone, and also had 9 points from the first half to as a buffer, so very much no worries there. But also very interesting match, to say the least. Both the setup here from France in this when they were playing on the blue side with such a high focus here on the road or the street, and also in the first half where they had just such an interesting setup with the smokes going different places than what we see usual, and also having so many more players committed to the flanking, with 2 of them going through the balcony area instead of only 1. So this certainly looked much more in favor of France than what I might have hoped for, but it still nevertheless was a good match in my opinion. So with that, we're going to go on to the second map in the series, and it's going to be Sanctuary. Yes. I am, you might not see it, but I'm right now rubbing my tummy. This is going to be a good thing. Really, as I said earlier, this was the home map for Denmark back when I played, and that was just because our captain Sir Mimer at the time just took a lot of cues and strategies from the Americans we played so much with. But it might be nostalgia talking. I mean, disclaimer on that. It might be nostalgia talking on this, but Sanctuary, in my opinion, is a great map. It's an amazing map to have, and it's a little bit sad that it is not played as much, because it has a very interesting twist compared to the others. Because if you look at it as such, it looks very much like any other map. You have some place where you spawn, you have some place where the other one spawn, and you have about 2 paths to the other side and 1 through the middle. Looks very, very standard actually, if you phrase it like that. But the really cool way is how it is designed in regards to connecting all of these rooms together, because they are very much just connected with only 2 connections, 1 room for one side and 1 room on the other side, and then you might also have a connection to the middle. And that does mean that it doesn't play as any other map where you have 2 sides and also the middle to worry about, but instead it plays very much like a circle with some kind of a middle, which is really, really cool, in my opinion at least. The one thing though also about the middle here, which is very important, is that it does give you a lot of control of the map, because as I said, it's circular. If you're not going to go through the middle, you have to go all the way around, which is a long way. So you gain a lot of control of the map, since you can then hold down onto some angles which shut down movement of your opponent. But on the other hand, there's really no cover when you are at the very middle. Not really any proper cover, that is. So you very much are exposed, but you gain a lot of map control, and you also gain the ability to take shortcuts through the map so that you can cut off your opponents. Again, very interesting, just design-wise. So what we're most likely going to see from USA, at least, as I would expect them to have some kind of a setup similar to what we had back when I played for Denmark. So we probably, I would expect USA to be playing in the circular fashion, where we see them have 1 predetermined position for every spawn area we have, where they would want to push to some strong position. Because the thing is that the silo area and the 2 smaller gardens are very strong positions to have. And simultaneously with taking those 2 areas, the Ivy, I think it's called, if I remember correctly, the Ivy Garden, the one that is very much at the outskirts of the map, and it's one of the smallest areas of them all. That one is a really good one to hold down yourself, but only you're really far away from the middle. But at the silo and the other garden, or just any other, you would not have all your 5 players committed to pushing onto that area that you have designated when you spawned, as I said. Instead, you would have maybe 1 or 2 players try and take control of the middle. Yes, you have people exposed, but at the same time you also have map control, you cut off players, and you have a different angle to also support your push onto that area, should your opponent also be pushing simultaneously onto the same one. Especially if your opponent spawns at the lower tunnel and you spawn at the garden, then you have one team going to having all 5 players going straight onto the silo, but 2 of them going right instead of going into the middle, and the 3 of us going to go directly and contesting control of the silo, where you would then expect the other team to try and push on and contest that area. But I think that has been way too much rambling on my part and way too little gameplay. So I am ready, certainly, for this nostalgia trip, and this should be a really interesting match to see. So can USA on this old home map of theirs force it onto the ace match? We are going to go straight in, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be France in the blue colors again, and USA in the red. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a good one. So USA starting here at the courtyard and pushing straight onto the silo. Though Tarquin here going into a push onto the middle, gets a little bit of a good hit here in on the arms of one of the players of France, but does also fall back and doesn't really want to contest it. Camos though already pushing in again, and Zombie holding down back, being very, very defensive on his, just peeking in onto the middle. France simultaneously though pushing onto the garden, and him being a little bit of a lurk here at the courtyard. But all of France already trying to see if they can go in for control, and having taken control also of the middle, so they have all of the sides here, but USA having some good trades at first, but France with no losses at all, just goes in from all sides, and USA weren't ready for that. So, very clean execution here for the first round of France. Tarquin though with a good shot gets Babu down, so that's a really good pick here first. Holtes though gets a good angle in here. Tarquin though with the Desert Eagle gets him down, still at 24 HP with the SR8. A very, very big threat here. Clad though trying to see if he can contest it, gets Camus down. And does switch it out here for the LR300. Tarquin though again with the SR8 gets Clad, so it's still even trades since the beginning though. Slowly more and more players of USA are falling, and now it's only your bad, which I cannot actually remember who it was really. It was some problems with the auth, I think, of him. But he's going to go for the SO8, holding down on the longer angles, and going to push straight onto the courtyard, right out into the open wide when France were going to jump through with several players at different angles. With the S8, not something that you would have won. He should probably have gone down the ladder as he was thinking at first. Clad here, just holding down here at Oak Park, as was one of the gardens as I was referencing. But here USA at the silo, just holding down on France from all sides, and Babu and everyone else from France going in from the middle and from the Oak Park, and kills flawlessly everyone here from USA. So a very interesting approach here, and it works really, really well for France. They very much are actually just splitting the team in three, having some of them going through the middle and having several of them going around the circle here. And again, it works really, really well. USA just gets a kill from all sides at once. Each and every time they go in into an engagement, France has a crossfire set up in some way. And again, USA taking control of the silo and trying to see if they can take control of, a little bit postponed and a little bit later, but taking control of the middle and taking several people through there. So they are trying to see if they can gain some control of some other part of the map. Camus though getting him down. Tarquin has a good shot there, but does not connect. Doesn't connect here on the second shot either. Gets Zombie though down there in the end with only 10 HP though. He has to be healed up, and that very fast. But Babu already there to get Camus down. And Tarquin too. Only one more left. Gets Azel down there for the 3k. For a nice engagement. Very cleverly done. Taking only one player at a time. Taking his time. Waiting for possible backup. But also still just taking everything into his own hand. Moscow Jones surprising Holtes there. So it is a little bit of a trade. And Zombie now also going down, so... And Clad too, so there's a lot of players actually here from France are going to go down. Only Hemp is the very last one alive. Even though that the scoreboard says something else. He does get Tarquin though, but his position has been told to everyone else. And we already have Moscow Jones going in. And just Yobat just going in for the shots. And the rest of them going in from different angles. A little bit, not exactly simultaneously, but still at the same time enough for them to be able to get a good kill here. And not be able to go in 3 times in a 1 versus 1. Again, we have some even trades here at the start of the round. Tarquin just holding down here at the upper hallway. Holding down one angle. While Camus just holds down on someone coming from courtyard. Tarquin going back, holding down the longer angle, while Camus tries to take over in this more long close quarter. But again, Tarquin getting healed up, gets a little bit of a hit onto Holtes, gets him down, but Babu from the side still gets him and kills the 2 others who were just holding the flank of Tarquin. So again, another round, but still a closer round than what we had at first. France starting off really, really strongly, but it is slowly beginning to be a much more of an even unfair fight here. France having control here of silo, but Zombie being one down, so USA has the man advantage. There is a little bit of a trade, but now it is all the way down to what should have been I think a 3 versus 3, yes, I've kept the count correctly. Holt is going into the middle, gets your bat down. Camos tries to go in for the trade, is also punished, going into a crossfire against 2. But Moscow Jones going to go in, see if he can get them healing. Peeks in again, doesn't really do much as or Clad or Holtz just stays behind cover and just together with the other. And then they just keep on pushing White when he was trying to see if he would retreat into a better position, as that certainly wasn't working. Clad they're going in for a little bit of just not being, certainly with the SA being able to hit anything, but getting the intel of the position of USA. Holtz though also going down here. So again, man advantage to USA, but that has been also happening several times before, and yet it hasn't really been to the advantage. Your bat trying to see if he can salvage here the SO8 off Tarquin. Trying to see if he can find the one SO8 player. Does also go down here to Clad. Clad really just really strong here with the SA. Just really being really just doing a lot of the very important kills here. That's what I'm trying to say. Asel going up against Zombie in a 1 versus 1. Close enough for the kisses and the hugs, but Zombie didn't really want any of that and just killed him instead. So it's an 8-1 only after 8 minutes here. France going to try and see if they can push further on into the middle. And also beginning to retreat here from the Opak, though. They are beginning to try and push in. Holt is coming from the middle. Again, from several sides at once. Zombie also from the courtyard. Again, 3 angles at once against all of the Americans at the silo. And again, such a good execution. USA not having all the angles properly covered, or covered good enough, such that they can shut down several engagements, or several pushes, or several flanks, or several angles at once. USA though, pushing straight onto the silo and doing that very convincingly. Hemp being the very last one here, trying to see if he can flee over the door there into the middle. Does get stuck and get killed. So it seems very much actually like it is very easy, and very much the silo seems much more like a death trap maybe even. Which is very much against anything that I've learned about this map. I mean, we've only seen the team staying at silo die. We've had France here die at the silo. White when USA was pushing in from several angles at once. And USA, as I've already highlighted several times, has died when pushing on several times at once. Against Tarquin here. And Moscow Jones going straight into the Oak Park and killing, actually shutting down that one crossfire by pushing in from several angles at once, and also just cleaning up everything else here at the courtyard. Very convincing round, but still it's a 9-3, but it is beginning to get, the USA is beginning to get the ball rolling here. Clad here, trying to see if he can push onto what I'm pretty certain is called Ivy. So Cam was here though, pushing onto the fountain, or the middle. And Moscow Jones holding down the angle onto from the courtyard, and going down into the tunnel to just greet Tarquin and his medic. Again, USA going into the middle, getting in some good crossfires there, and Camos doesn't even need the help of others, just goes into what is called the garden, I think. It's called the garden hallway, that was where we saw the stairs. We didn't get to see where the other thing is called, so probably we should just call it garden. But I might just be calling it Ivy now just to irritate you. Nevertheless, USA though, staying here at silo, Moscow Jones pushing out into Oak Park, together with another, holding down through the side, Moscow Jones getting that bow, Clad though getting your bat at simultaneously, but Moscow Jones goes in for the trade, which is in favor of USA. Cam was simultaneously also getting Zombie, and I think it was Clad. So Hemp, the very last one here. With the SR8 though, so he still very much has a lot of things he can do. He does hear one. He hears Moscow Jones right beneath him. Doesn't really realize that it was so much to his left. So he didn't flick around fast enough, and he was just killed. And the gap is beginning to close. It's only 4 rounds lead here for France. It's a 9-5 and still 10 minutes left. This is beginning to be getting to be a good match here. Tarquin again pushing onto the Oak Park. While all of USA again also taking control here of the middle, but still Moscow Jones going down. None of France have gone down, so they very much have the man advantage, and they've been able to take very good advantage of that earlier, making some good clean executions. It's called the Flower Garden, by the way. Well, I suppose ivy is a flower, so I suppose that's correct. Your bat is caught out in the open, pretty much. Even though it was a 1-1-1, it could also very much have been a crossfire. And Tarquin, the very last one here, with the SO8, is going to try and see if he can go into a better position. But France should be expecting this movement of his. And Zombie has the angle down, while he was also supported by the healing of his teammate. And kills Tarquin there. He might actually have wanted to push out with the SO8. That might have actually have turned the tides there. France here, holding down on the Flower Gardens, pushing a little bit out onto the courtyard, and trying to see if they can also take a little bit of a peek here onto the middle. And Hemto going to take the second angle down at the tunnel. They get Moscow Jones pushing out into the courtyard. And also getting cameras there with a nice clean shot. So Ambit's going to go in, creating your bat there, surprised, while there was also the sneaking attack by Babu. So Assel, the very last one, is going to be backstabbed while he was engaged up against Babu. So it's now an 11-5. Again, France beginning to widen the lead here. France having control here of Oak Park, just holding down the angle with Babu though all alone. There's some reinforcements there with, I think, maybe Hemp going to go straight in just in the nick of time, but also simultaneously going to have someone have them push at the middle, killing several of the Americans. And a very nice attempt of a push onto the two players healing each other. It was only one of them though killed, and the other one was fast enough there to return the fire and get the kill. Sadly, but that was still a nice attempt of turning that round around. Again, we have 2 versus 4 here, and Assel again now the last one here, going onto the temple walkway. Finds one from France, is also though have to worry against some players here from Oak Park. There, he just barely gets away before someone shoots from the Oak Park, but jumps straight into the fire of 2 of the French players. He might have wanted to go onto the Flower Garden there instead. Holtz is going to go and jump straight onto the lower hallway, or the upper hallway. Oh, the hallway then, I suppose. Gets a backstab there in on one. And also some supporting fire with Clad just taking control of the courtyard here. And Assel again, the very last one here for USA, gets Babu down, but gets backstabbed here by Holters from the Flower Garden. 14-5 is the score, with still 5.5 minutes left. And with what would be 9 rounds, 5, then you would have to go for... Yeah, you would probably have to go for rounds of a length of about 40 seconds. Still doable, certainly, but USA have to rush and be very aggressive each and every time. And each and every time they've been aggressive, France have been very able to just hold down some angle that they've been able to shut USA down with. But still, it's your bad and Assel up against Holters there. But Holters with some really great movement, really great game sense, taking one great kill here up against your bat, and now it's a very long range engagement up here against Assel. And Holters being a little bit weird there looking at the sky. I'm not completely sure what happened there. Assel going further in, doesn't really connect there with Holters, and Holters gets the final shot. The lead is now a 10 score lead here for France. And Holters goes in, gets one of them. It's only a trade. But still, simultaneously from other sides, France has gone in. Hemp here getting also Assel down. And now Camus, the very last one, gets backstabbed here by Zombie. So, very much, let's actually just try and focus here on what actually the setup here of France is. We have Clad at the spawn area attempt to just hold down the angle with the SR8. While we have other players by USA being killed, but also trying to see if they can go onto the flower garden, while Assel tries to hold down on the middle. Very much what I was trying to say, having a big group and maybe a smaller group, but a bigger group. France at the same time seems to be a little bit more spread out. So we have now, as we see, Zombie going to go into the courtyard, be a little bit out in the open, but still at least getting the trade here. But as we can see here, Hemp on the complete other side of the map, being able to just backstab one player and the other. France very much winning by just taking in good position, finding all the very good positions on the map and just taking them and finding one backstab after the other. And having control of so many areas at once, even though that they are so much more spread out. USA should be winning if they are much more grouped together and going into one area at a time. But they never really get to able to use that advantage, just because France each and every time are beginning to go and do their one push from several angles at once, which USA hasn't really been able to cope with yet. And having so many more angles, they also have a crossfire, which just is much better. Zombie though, going up against Tarquin, is going to go down, but Babu already does make sound, but Tarquin not really hearing it, Assel neither. But you're bad, the very last one there for USA. Turn that around, but that went way better for Babu than it should have. He did make sound when he picked that weapon up, so that should have been heard there, but there's some good kills here for USA here at first. But already has been traded here. And again, still at 2 versus 2, your bad surprises Zombie. But Hemp also very much at the other side of the map. Maybe not diagonally at the other side of the map, but certainly at the other side of the map in some way. Holding down what they're very much also making a crossfire onto any players coming out from the hallway area. And Hemp though, just wasting time, holding down the angle, not really having enough of vision there to see your bad coming in. That could have been gone better though. With actually, so I'm sorry. This I've completely forgot that I'm not going to be playing this at or watching this at 110 FOV, as you all should of course play at. That's for certain. I mean, play this game at 110 FOV if you can. The only reason we have 90 FOV on these shortcasts are just because it makes for much more pleasant viewer experience, because the view is much less distorted, and also because you're much more going to be leaning back when you're going to be watching a shortcast instead of actually being leaned forward. So it takes in less area of your vision, which also means it should have a smaller FOV. So I do hope that it just makes for a more pleasant view experience. The cameras that are trying to use the SR8 didn't realize it was all out of ammo. Didn't get punished for it actually. Might actually make certain so that others can hear that sound much harder. That would actually make for a very interesting thing. But Hemp though goes in, does the trade. For the 20th round here for France. It's a 20-7. It's the very last round here. USA having control of the silo and the oak park. They're going to try and see if they can push further in. A nice nade here by Camus onto a very common position to take. Jumps though in right into this SR8 fire. And Tyrant trying to see if he can get in with a good SR8 shot. And holds down onto the push from the one going over the door. Doesn't really hold it. And France comes in from all sides again and kills all from USA. But yeah, still very interesting, just Sanctuary in of itself. It's a very beautiful map, but also just it offers different playstyles that we don't see at any other maps. So in the same way that Hunga is great because it makes for aggressive plays, Akaso is great. Sanctuary is certainly also great. I hope you also can appreciate it. I really loved it. But France, nevertheless, takes this one home convincingly and are going to be facing the winner of Germany going up against Hungary, which is going to be the very next match shoutcasted. So stay tuned.